guys, this is Hope from the Rhinestone World, and today I'm going to show you how to use the TRW Design Wizard to design and press a game day shirt. So it's going to be a full 30-inch back design as well as a front pocket design. Hey guys, this is Hope from the Rhinestone World, and I'm going to show you guys how to go ahead and design the back area of a game day shirt. Now, as you guys have seen or will see by the end of this video, a game day shirt, you usually make your text across the shoulders of the shirt and kind of arched. So I'm going to do that now. We'll start by typing out the word that we want in the back. I'm going to type out North Side. That's our high school name here. I'm just going to make it big enough to see. Double click on it and let's change the text. I'm going to go with, we have a multi-deck font that works pretty well with something like this, mainly because it gives us an athletic type font with a little outline there. So now that I have this, what I'm going to do is make it, I measured the back of my shirt from seam to seam on the shoulders, and I got about 34 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and make this about 30 inches wide. And all I need to do is make sure my lock is locked right here. And I'm going to type in 30. That will keep the height and width proportional. And I can go in and of course make my workspace about that size as well. Okay, once I have that, what I'm going to do is just make a little oval shape that'll help us to arch the text a little bit. Rather than it just being a little bit plain, we can put it on an arch. All we're going to do, click on the text. We're going to fit text to path using that button there and just put it on the curve. Now if we don't like how that looks, we can always take the curve and kind of shrink it in. It'll kind of increase the intensity of that, and we can always resize it later. So once we like our size and the curve it's on, we're going to convert it to curves. That way we can detach it from the circle. Delete the circle, and now we have our text. Well, this is a little bit boring, so what I can also do is grab, I have a few different samples typed out here. I'm going to type in their mascot name. So I'll just grab it from this one and we'll increase that size. So we have our Grizzlies. I'm going to make it nice and big, and I'm going to kind of hide it in the middle here. And we'll do a sort of a knockout. What you can also do is put it here in the middle, straighten it out, but I like it a little bit off center. From there, all I'm going to do is use the wizard. We're going to go to the Place and Fill tab. Do one island to the outside. Contour space, let's do 0.02 and see how that looks. We're not going to add any rhinestones, and we're just going to hit island fill. From there, you can see that it formed a little island to the outside. All we need to do is click on the island. We're going to click on the original word north side and run a simplify. What that did was create a little bit of space there, and it makes it easier to see. I'm going to put this on a red shirt, so let's see how it looks. That way we can decide what color font we want to use. So we have our red here, then we have our north side. I think what I'm going to do is do some white text on white. That way it'll be kind of subtle in there. You won't really be able to see it, but if you go there, I think you'll get the point. All right, and that's it for that design. Now let's take our mascot and we'll make a pocket design on the front. So all I'm going to do is take our North Side High Grizzly here. And if you guys are doing this, I will caution you, if you're going to sell these shirts, go ahead and make sure you have permission from the school before you take their logo. I'm just creating one for fun though, so we're okay here. Alright, I have this logo. I'm going to make a circle. And I'm going to make another circle, a little bit bigger. And let's take everything and we'll use our Edit tab and align it down the center. So now I have two concentric circles, and this grizzly, I'll make him just a little bit bigger to fit in the center there. And let's just, we'll fill this in. That way you guys can see everything we have going on. So, I'm going to send these circles to the back and bring our grizzly bear up front. There he is. I'm going to click on the green circle, then click on the black circle, and we're going to hit combine. And what that does is it kind of makes a little donut. It simplifies out that center and it joins them all as one object. From there, I can type out, I'm going to put the school name in this circle as well, and we'll leave the grizzly in there. So let's take our text and we'll type out north side. Actually, let's change it up. Let's do grizzly. Let's do grizzly pride. Cool. So I'm going to stretch it out a little bit more just so I can see exactly what's going on. Double click. And let's change that again to another athletic font. And usually a nice little athletic block font will work. This one's a little bit wider, so we'll use that one. And we'll do the same with the pride. And I'll change it to a bright color that I can see as I do my design. And again, we're just going to fit this to a path. So I'm going to click on the word, click on the path, and add it in the middle here. Now I want this to kind of be floating in the middle, so I'm going to grab that red diamond and just make sure that I have it kind of centered there. From there, I can do a few different things. I can click on my word, click on my shape tool as long as it's still text, and I can increase that text spacing, kind of spread this word out just a little bit. And if you only want to move one letter, what you can do is click on that node to the left of the letter and just drag it in. That way, if that Y might be a little bit spaced out too much, you can always move it. Perfect. So we'll leave that just as it is. Now we'll do the same thing with our pride. And I'm going to increase this text spacing before I even get into that. There we go. So again, click on our word, fit text to path, and we'll put it in here. Now when you go to the bottom and you want to fit it to a path, it gets kind of tricky because it's going to be upside down. You're going to click on your mirror tools for your text spacing. And then again, we can grab that red diamond and do that right there. Now again, I think I do want to increase this text spacing just a little bit more. So we'll click on our shape tool and just drag that out. Now if you click on these arrows, what they're going to do is evenly distribute that text spacing. If you click on one at a time, you'll only move that letter. Cool. So we have our grizzly pride centered in there. Now let's go ahead and add the year. So it's 2017. We'll do a 20. We're going to put it on each side of this. So we'll do one on each side. I'm going to change this text again to our athletic font. And I'll put it right there in the middle. Now rather than making another text box and having to ensure that they're the same exact size, all I'm going to do is click on this 20, and as I drag away, I'm going to do a right click really quick. And it's going to make a copy, and whenever I let go, it's going to leave that. We can use our align tools in the wizard to make sure that those are going to line up perfectly. And of course we want to make sure that it's centered within our circle as well. So move this one over a little bit more. Now when we're done with our align tool, just click this X here. And let's change this 20 to a 17. And we can always stretch it out, make it look a little bit wider, and move it over slightly. Recenter that. Perfect. So now all I need to do is grab these and simplify them through the circle. If we want to do it a little bit more quickly, you can always grab the grizzly, convert it to curves, convert the pride to curves. That one's already done. Awesome. And we can weld all of these together. That way our simplifying only has to be in one step. So now that I've welded it together, I can hold Shift and do a simplify. And now you'll see that everything that we've created is kind of subtracted through there. So now we have our grizzly pride. And just to make it look a little bit more intricate and a little bit like a cooler logo, what I'm even going to do is add another ring around the outside of this. So I'll take this circle. I'm going to do 2 islands to the outside. One to be a gap on the outside, and the second one to actually be the contour. So what we're going to do is go to our Place and Fill tab here, do 1 island to the outside. We'll do a contour. Let's try 0.06. And this is really a guess and check game just to see what's going to look good. Cool, and I do like that amount of spacing. And we are going to delete this island, so don't worry about all of this here on the inside. Now I'm going to take it again, select this island, and do one more island to the outside, again of a spacing of 0.06. Now we can do simplifies and try to get rid of all of these islands like that, but what I prefer to do in a situation like this is just come to the bottom here and grab my Smart Fill tool. And if you're in Corel X6, it's going to be a little bit higher up on the toolbar and look a little bit different, but you can always hover over it until you find the Smart Fill tool. But I'll just click, and now I've created an extra layer on the outside of these islands. So I can just easily come in and delete these. Click on one, delete, click on the other, and delete. And now all I need to do to finish up my design is just weld everything all together. So there we go. We have one cool Grizzly Pride pocket design for the front of this game day shirt. And on the back, again, we'll have the Northside Grizzlies. So if this is about 30 inches on the back, on the front, let's do about 4 inches wide. It'll be a 4x4 circle. Again, it's just going to go on the pocket. And there we go. So there's that design. And now we have our Northside Grizzlies. So I went ahead and cut out both of my transfers already. So I have my front pocket design here, which is our smaller, more intricate design. And then I have our 30-inch long cut for the back of this game day shirt. Now game day shirts do require a much longer cut, so it's nice that we had a big cutter to work with. If you are working with a smaller cutter, like a silhouette or anything like that, you can always divide this into 2 cuts just to make sure your tracking is going to stay on point. But with our graph tech, we were able to get it all done nicely in 1 cut. Now I'm going to show you a few tricks for weeding. So we have, again, a pretty intricate design here. What I'm going to do is actually go ahead and weed it on the heat press. The warmth is going to heat up the vinyl and just make it peel off the carrier sheet a lot easier. Okay, so one of our weeding tricks is, what we're going to do is pull it down, the platen of the heat press, and lift it right back up. That's going to warm up this bottom platen of the press, and we can place our transfer on there and weed it out, and it's going to be a lot easier, especially if we're working with a pretty intricate design. So I'm just going to weed this out. Okay, so that's all set. We have our Grizzly Pride chest piece, and now we're just going to move over to our bigger table and weed our bigger area. Alright, we have a bit of a longer piece here with an easier cut, so I'm just going to go ahead and weed this out. It'll be a little bit easier than the last piece. Okay, so we are all set. Here's our Northside Grizzlies, all set for the back of our t-shirt. Okay, so I have my game day shirt spread out. This is the back, and as you can see, we have kind of one shoulder seam here and one here. And I'm going to go ahead and center the design across the back. Now, I've already gone ahead and done a pre-press to make sure everything is nice and smooth. So now I just need to center this design right here. Now, this is a little bit of a longer design than what we normally press. So we can't really get it all done with our 16x20 heat press because it's about 30 inches wide. So once we get it all centered, one trick that we're going to do is to tape it down, and that way we can do 2 presses and we know that our transfer will not move. So I'm using our TRW Magic Heat Tape here. I'm just going to go around the design and just make sure that it's secured at every area. Now this tape is really nice because it can actually stand the heat of the heat press. So it's not going to melt at all, so you know you can put it on all of your apparel, and at 310, 315 degrees, you know you're going to be fine. And again, this will just make sure that this does not shift as we do our 2 presses. So don't be afraid to use a ton of tape. It's worth it to save any transfers that you might ruin by not using it. Alright, and we'll do one more down here. And I'm just going to double check and just make sure that this is perfectly centered here, and then we'll move over to the heat press. Okay, so we have our heat press nice and hot. Our transfer is taped down onto our shirt, so we're ready to start pressing. So I'm going to grab my shirt and just line it up so we can get just about half of this press on here. And again, we do have it taped down, so we don't need to worry too much about making sure it stays secure. So we have half of that on there. We're just going to do a 1 to 2 second press just to get it tacked, and we'll make sure we don't have any wrinkles going on here either. So we're going to do 1 to 2 seconds.
1, 2. Lift up this press. And now we know that that's secured, so all we're going to do is we're going to shift our shirt over. So we can just slide it nice and easy there. We got a little bit hanging off the edge still. And we'll make sure we smooth out all this area around the collar because we don't want to get any of that wrinkle in with our press. And again, we're going to do 1 to 2 seconds. 1, 2, and lift it up. And we can just peel off this tape a little bit just to check and see if that press took. Now if that did, what we can do is take off this whole transfer tape and go back through and do our full press. Alright, so that looks good. And we can peel this all off. And we still want to be semi-careful. Again, we didn't do a full press on this, so we want to make sure that if anything doesn't stick, we don't pull it off. Alright, cool. So now that we have our transfer tape pulled off, we're going to go back through and press everything once more for the full 10 to 15 seconds. So we're just going to start over. Make sure we got all of our wrinkles smoothed out. And now we can do our full press. Alright, so we are going to keep going and do this half of the shirt one more time for our 10 to 15 seconds. Perfect. So now we can tell we've got a really good press on there and we have that full width of the back of this shirt. Okay, so now it's time to do our front pocket. So we have our logo here and we're just going to center it right there on that pocket area. And we won't need to tape this one down because it's going to be a quick, easy press, so we'll just do the full 10 to 15 seconds that first time. Okay, so we're all finished pressing, so we have our front design and our back design all pressed on there, and we're all set to go. If you guys have any questions, feel free to call us at 941-755-1696 or visit therhinestoneworld.com, and we'd love to help you out.